I'd like to call this meeting to order, and if you would please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. And if you choose, please remain standing. The invocation will be given by Pastor Clayton Wilfer from Joy Church.
Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this town and for all the blessings you have given us. We pray for the leaders of this council that they may be guided by your wisdom. Grant them and all of us the desire and ability to follow your word, which says that we should be quick to hear, slow to speak, and slow to anger. We pray that your grace, love, and peace be with all who have gathered here. We pray all of this in the name of Jesus. Amen. Amen.
Town Clerk, can I have a roll call, please?
Mayor Friedel.
Present.
Vice Mayor Skillicorn.
Present.
Councilmember Earl.
Here.
Councilmember Calavianakis.
Here.
Councilmember Watts.
Here.
Councilmember Larrabee.
Here.
Councilmember McMahon.
Here.
Mayor, you have a quorum.
Thank you. And I believe everybody was given a statement of participation on their way into the meeting tonight, so please follow accordingly. Town Manager?
Thank you, Mayor. As we begin tonight's meeting, I'd like to take a moment to recognize a few of our wonderful community events from this past week and those that are on the horizon coming this weekend. First, a big thank you to everyone who participated in our annual turkey trot. We saw record-breaking attendance this year, and it was a fantastic way to watch so many residents and families kick off the holiday family weekend together. And a special nod, of course, to Mayor Friedel for lacing up his sneakers and joining us for the run this year. Thank you for representing the town so well. Following the run, our annual parade brought even more energy and excitement to the downtown. It was great to see many community groups, families, and spectators turn out to celebrate. We also hosted our sold-out Breakfast with Santa, which brought a lot of joy to our youngest residents here in Fountain Hills. Our Sensitive Santa saw a significant increase in attendance, providing a calmer, more comfortable experience for those who benefit from a quieter setting. We're grateful to everyone who helped make these events welcoming and accessible to all. Looking ahead, we don't stop there. Thanksgiving weekend is just the start. Looking ahead, we invite the community to join us this weekend for the Stroll in the Glow along the Avenue. It's a wonderful way to celebrate the season, enjoy the lights, and spend time with friends and neighbors. We hope to see you there. Speaking of lights, we often get asked where to find the best holiday displays in town, and we have the perfect answer. Residents are invited to help light up the town by entering their homes in our annual Light Up the Town holiday tour. The deadline to enter is Wednesday, December 10th, and once registered, participants decorate their homes, and we put together an interactive map that folks can download, and it will guide them throughout the town to all participating homes, and it'll be available on Monday, December 15th, and the tour will run through December 31st. You can vote for your favorite houses, your favorite decor, prizes will be distributed. It's a great way to sort of celebrate the season on your own time and enjoy a dazzling self-guided tour around Fountain Hills. With that, Mayor, those are my updates.
Thank you. As you can see, we've been very busy. So right now, I'd like to do a special recognition. I have a citizenship award that I want to bestow upon Bob Burns. Bob has been a reporter, local reporter here in town for 38 years, I believe. Is that right, Bob? 37, okay. I gave you an extra year's credit, so we'll knock that out of your pension. I'm just kidding. Bob, for your consistent reporting, thoughtful coverage, and unwavering dedication to keeping the residents of Fountain Hills informed, your presence at the town council meetings, and your passion for local journalism, having left a lasting impact on our community, thank you for your years of service and congratulations on your retirement. And with that, we have a special little, we're going to take a couple-minute recess because we brought some cupcakes in honor of your retirement. If you'll come up and accept this award and then maybe say a few words, that would be great.
My voice isn't very good tonight, so I'll just say that I had most of what I said and cited in print this week, and I appreciate the recognition, and thank you very much.
Hey, Brent, do you and Ryan want to get a picture with Bob? Why don't you and Ryan come up and get a picture with Bob? And then you can roll the cupcakes out. If everybody wants to take a minute and get a cupcake, that would be great. We'll take a little pause for cupcakes. Thank you again, Bob, for your years of service. And now we're going to start with our presentations. Town Manager.
All right. Thank you, Mayor. Our first presentation tonight is from the Fountain Hills Sister Cities Corporation. Christine, I think you're going to be giving an update to our mayor and council. Is that right? Do you have a PowerPoint or anything? Okay, great. Justin, would you mind helping her if she needs any technical support up there? Mayor and council, this is Christine Colley. Many of you know her in a lot of different capacities, but she is also part of our Sister Cities program here in Fountain Hills and leads the way in a number of their initiatives. All right, Christine, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor, City Council, and Rachel. If I may, if we were in Deerdorf, our German sister city, you would be greeted, Guten Abend, Bürgermeister Friedel und Stadtmitglieder und Rachel. I'm Christine Colley. I'm a 30-year resident of Fountain Hills. We made our home here in 1995, and I've never looked back. So I'm here today to tell you a little bit about Sister Cities. That was founded in 2000. And I'm often asked, what is a sister city? So let me tell you. It's basically a relationship that is formed between two municipalities. It happens after visitors have identified a desire to partner with a city in a foreign country. Visits are made and exchanged, and then the community decides that this relationship is a positive go forward, and the relationship is cemented with the signature by the highest elected officials of the communities. We are in good company in this country. Sister Cities International fosters 500 nationwide chapters with 2,100 sister city partners in 145 countries. Arizona alone has 13 sister city chapters with 58 international sister cities. Who we are. Fountain Hills Sister Cities is a nonprofit organization managed all by volunteers. We provide opportunities for all people in our area to develop and participate in international relationships. We're volunteers, as I said. We're passionate about working with sister cities across the world. We seek to promote peace, hope, harmony, and deeply human connections through international cities diplomacy. As part of this vision, we identify partnerships with cities that are like us. And like us means we agree on concepts, we like each other, we like our culture. Our sister cities vary greatly, so it's not a sister city that is the same size, the same location, the same. Deerdorf, for example, is a town of 6,000 people, so is Ataco, and Samos is 30,000. But we found connections in those cities that made the relationships initiate and grow. Why we do it? We are a passionate group of people that really enjoy to work in different cultures and maintain and grow those relationships in those cultures. We fulfill the original concept of the Sister Cities movement started in 1956 by President Eisenhower, whose mission was to reunite a fractured post-World War world, one community at a time, people-to-people style. Here are our sister cities. Ataco, El Salvador, that originated with Enrique Melendez, who is from El Salvador, and he is the honorary consul emeritus at the time. And this happened in November 2007. And Wally Nichols went with Enrique to Ataco. And I believe they turned on the lights in Ataco for the first time when they visited there. Mayor Linda Kavanaugh was in charge in June of 2014 when Elizabeth and Bogomil Horsham, Elizabeth is here, and Elizabeth was born in Samos, and that's how that relationship was established. And so they went to Samos at the time and to sign the agreement. Deerdorf, Germany came on board in 2005, also with Mayor Wally Nichols. And we had a long relationship in the high school with Deerdorf already because they were doing student exchanges with as many as 36 kids at one time when I moved here and learned about that. So it was easy to identify that as a proper sister city. And I'm from Germany, so I'll manage that relationship with pleasure. Excuse me. So what have we been doing? We celebrate 25 years with our first exchange to Deerdorf, and we take high school students between Deerdorf and Fountain Hills and Samos and Fountain Hills. And these kids come back with life-changing experiences. The last time Polish students were here, and I was at the bus when they departed, and the one boy said to his father, you know, I always wanted a brother, and now I have one. So it's heartbreaking, the relationship these kids establish. We do some humanitarian efforts, and Ataco suffers from floods, from bad weather there, and so we support them in a way by providing food packages. We had at one time 40 Fountain Hills students that traveled to Ataco to rebuild the homes. It was a really wonderful experience for these students to experience Ataco. And then we supported Zamość for the Ukraine refugees that they took in at the time. We do international cultural events. Like I said, we're passionate about the international aspect. We do Oktoberfest. I hope all of you attended it this year. The Polish have a great Polish festival with 10,000 attendees. We did the Oktoberfest, the October Heritage Month, which is October for Hispanic, Poland, and Germany. Managing these sister cities relationships fosters tourism for Fountain Hills. Of course, the word gets out how beautiful Fountain Hills is, and that drives more visitors to see what it's like here. Many European visitors are here because they'll stop by on the way to the Grand Canyon. Our website won the #2 in the state, which is a real accomplishment. Because we have so many others, and also we won 2 awards as the best Fountain Hill, the best sister cities in 2009 and 2012, and that was granted by Sister Cities International for population under 25,000. Passion among our board members, the lives we touch worldwide, as I mentioned, and the memories we share have a lifelong impact. The involvement of our ambassador, Hope for a Better Future, is an investment in our youth. We reach out to them. We offer scholarships, sponsorships to international youth leadership summits. This is a very exclusive summit, and we will be sending our 3rd member this spring. And the 2 that have embarked on a successful career as a result of having been there. And then our funding resources, our membership, we are a recipient of the professional services agreement with the town, and we thank you for that. We do event sponsorships to earn funds, and we sell event tickets. A hunt is on for our next sister city. We have targeted Italy, and that is quite active, but it is a long process in finding a right partnership in that area. But we will keep you informed. Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Rachel, our next presentation.
Yes, our next presentation is from our MCSO captain. Captain Thomas, sharing with us his quarterly update.
I might need some technical support. I'm not seeing it on here. Yes.
Okay, so it's in here.
Right here, this one. Thank you. All right, Mayor, Town Manager, Council. I appreciate the chance to come up and speak in front of you guys, because every time I'm coming up here, I'm speaking on behalf of the men and women that wear this uniform and go out there and perform the public service to the community of Fountain Hills on a daily basis. And they really do an exceptional job. I have a couple of those members, Tanner and Justin back there, that are working with me today, that are instrumental in a lot of the things that I do get to come up here and brag about. Before I get into that, I just wanted to go off topic real quickly and just say that when I first came to Fountain Hills in the commander position, I was introduced to Bob Burns, and he was just such a pleasant person to deal with, talk to. He provided me some background information on the town, how it operates, and the people that are involved, and about what I would experience stepping into this role. And he was just such a genuine and good person. And in many people's lives and careers, they're really lucky if they ever make it 20 years to finish off a career. So 37 is amazing. And I, for one, appreciate your time, Bob, and your help that you gave me. So thank you. I'm going to be brief with this one. I think I spoke previously about a 3-year comparative that I'm working on, which I plan on delivering the next quarterly MCSO briefing to you guys. So I have analysts putting that together. And if you guys remember the one from 22 and 23, it basically took Glendale, Scottsdale, Fountain Hills, and did a comparison on what they see from a public safety standpoint and where those similarities and differences really shined a light on how safe this community is. And so I'm doing a new one since it's been enough time to put a 3-year comparative down. So that'll be coming. In the interim here for this quarterly update, I just wanted to point out a couple of data points that kind of show where we're at. So the chart that we have up here is one of our information systems. And one of the things I'll say as we look at these numbers is to understand that sometimes the boundaries around Fountain Hills get a little bit blurry with our CAD system and everything. So sometimes these numbers might reflect stuff that's technically outside of the city limits of Fountain Hills. This is basically a breakdown of our calls for service, our top 20 radio codes, and what we these men and women that go out there and patrol the streets daily, what they are dealing with. As you can see here, if you look at that far right category, those are the ones that really produce reports and really go to our summaries that we put out on what the newspaper puts out, what we see trend-wise. The big point on that, I would just say, is you'll see the top ones are vehicle crashes, some criminal damage, some assaults, whether that's mutual fights, stuff like that. And those numbers are not big at all. But in the middle description, you'll see the radio code descriptions. And that middle one, it'll start off with vacation patrol watch, but that community policing one is what I want to focus in on for a minute there, because that's showing a significant increase over past quarters, because we partnered with the mayor on his visibility initiative on getting our people out there in the community with the businesses, listening to what the concerns are and how we can intervene and hopefully solve some of these quality of life problems as well as the public safety stuff we deal with on a regular basis. And that's a few sections down from that community policing area. You'll see the follow-up, and to me, as the commander of the division, that tells me that these guys are actually going out there after the fact, after these things happen, and taking second and third looks, trying to resolve issues. Just because it was interesting, I put up here this bar graph that shows where our calls for service events really fall upon, and I thought it was interesting that, you know, Saturday and Sunday, as you see down here, we don't have near as many incidents as we do Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. I don't understand why the middle of the week is the busiest. In this next infographic, it's going to be just more of me showing some of the feedback we get from the community on whether it's speeding issues, red light runners, just basically wanting patrol in some certain areas to help resolve those issues. It's the warnings and citations. What you see there is them going out and using both education and enforcement as tools to help drive those things to improve. Now this is, you've heard me talk about Squad 5 before, and this goes back to when I first came into Fountain Hills working with the mayor on the visibility initiative, getting that more community-focused approach to our patrol deputies. Since that's happened, and as you can see here, Lieutenant Jerry Vance is the commander that we put over that unit to kind of help drive the direction, set the standard, and make sure we're following through with what we need. You'll see a 20% increase in our calls for service from last quarter that Squad 5 dealt with, who were mainly focused on community-oriented policing issues. And that second section that says 20% increase in on-view traffic is what that means. That means these guys are out there and gals are out there looking around, driving the neighborhoods, checking the businesses, interacting with people, looking for ways to be resources for the community, as well as be a deterrent to crime, both visually and with their investigation and follow-up actions. And the 277% community policing actions. So that's basically all of our things we check out on, whether we're meeting with the Corporation Commission meetings, whether we go to something like Toastmasters and sit in and talk to people, or going to door to some of these strip mall areas that have businesses and updating trespass orders or getting feedback for issues that they're experiencing. That's what that increase really represents, is those guys taking a proactive approach and diving in and getting into the community. And the important part on this, I won't go into much on this, but if you guys can see my cursor, I'm sorry that the definition is not that great, but we did a third quarter 2024 to a third quarter 2025 comparison. And what you'll see here is in 2024, this total calls for service for this unit, for this time frame, moved up drastically. So that's, if you can't see it, that's 16,000 over here, and this is 6,300 over here, over the difference of 1 year by taking your initiative and our drive for that community engagement and really making it the core of what these guys are going out and doing. They take the reins and they just take off with it and get that engagement. And what I'm seeing on the back end is a lot of follow-up from business owners and community coming up and telling me about their interactions with these guys and addressing these problems. As we're coming up on the holidays, I'll leave with this. The e-bikes, electric scooters, and stuff like that are still, just like in previous years, a big present item. MCSO, through our school resource officer and the Fountain Hills School District, have partnered up and put out information to educate at the school level and ultimately in the community the information needed for e-bikes. And we got pamphlets like this out at our lobby. We're sharing them with the school, and our deputies will have them too. So if they have the chance to have these conversations out there just in the public, they'll do it. But the big thing on this is that hopefully parents, through what the school's implementing and through dealing with us, they can understand there's a difference in these e-bikes, because there's classifications, and something that you think is a little motor to help somebody get around is much different than what we're seeing out there and what's becoming problematic safety-wise and just quality of life, neighborhood issues-wise, because got a lot of people that don't understand that you need to be 16, have a driver's license for a lot of these, depending on the class. And the parents may unwittingly be setting their kids up for issues legally by getting out there on the road with a vehicle that they're probably not able to handle and not legally allowed to. So with that, I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Councilperson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, I just want to tell you, I think we all feel in our community safe and taken care of because of MCSO under your leadership, and we appreciate it. Doing just a great job, and I think everybody in this room can come to an agreement on that. The one thing we did have, somebody brandish a weapon at the skybox the other day, and is there any resolution? Was there an apprehension of the perpetrator, perhaps?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. An arrest was made.
Thank you.
Captain, I'll just make a comment. Your community policing efforts are really taking root in the town, and I hear a lot of positive things about it, and then to see the data backing it up. So that's a huge improvement from where we were. So we really appreciate that in the town. I know a lot of residents do as well, and so do the commercial businesses as well. So thank you for your efforts on that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Rachel, before we call up the next speaker, I just want to make a comment about these different presentations. Christine Colley gave us a presentation on sister cities. It's important to know what they do, why they do it, how they do it. We don't see them on a regular basis, so that's why it's important for you to come in, and we appreciate your time doing that, so thank you for that. And the same with the captain. We don't see you, but we hear about it once a quarter or what's in the paper, but again, to see those facts and figures behind what you're doing is really a stark improvement, so we appreciate that. Thank you both. And with that, we'll have our next presentation. Rachel.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. And you make a good point. This is a chance for you guys to sort of have a little bit more hands-on conversation, because again, a lot of this gets passed on either through reports or updates from me, or updates through the media or whatnot. So this is a chance for you to kind of have that interaction. Speaking of, the next couple of updates, the next two presentations are updates regarding our capital improvement projects. Again, these are projects that were talked about and discussed and approved as part of our budget. We are about halfway through our budget year, not quite. So both Kevin and Justin will be giving updates as to where we're at with the variety of projects. So with that, I'll turn it over to you, Director Snipes.
Thank you. Mayor, Council, as Rachel was saying, we are about halfway through our year, so we'll get started with showing you where we're at so far. The first project here is the Golden Eagle Playground replacement, which is just the areas that are underneath the shade canopy. And this is a continuation kind of the original replacement that we did. We didn't have the funding to do the entire park when we did it originally. And so this year we were able to get that finished up, and it came out really nice, added a lot of new features over there for our kids to be able to use. And it has been actively being used since we completed it about a few months ago. So it's going really well. Our next one here is our Avenue Linear Park improvements. This is year 2 of 3. We completed the shade installation, which has been being used heavily during our farmers market, especially, and throughout the week for people to find some shade and picnic tables to be able to sit at and enjoy lunch or dinner out on the avenue. We also were able to get the rest of the event receptacles installed. They went for their first test drive here with our fair that we had here a couple weeks ago, and we had 0 issues for the first time since I've been here. I got 0 calls about needing to come out and not having power or having this issue or that issue. I call that a success. I don't care how you look at it. That was great for us. And they look really good. We've gotten lots of compliments on how they look as well as how they function. So that was a project that I think was far overdue to make the avenue look better. Our next here is we're just completing design work on Pleasantville Park. We do have the designs complete. I just put in a couple of images in here so you can kind of see the general look and layout of the park. There will be, we were really cautious about headlights on this project because we're wanting it to be able to be a stargazing park. And so we just got these back about a week ago. We're still going through this set to do our final impressions on it, and then we'll be ready to move forward on this one. Here's kind of an image of that center area where we're setting up to be our darkest location out there, where we'll be able to do some stargazing within the big center circular area. And we'll be moving forward on this as soon as we get done going through our side of the plans and get them back to make sure that we're all good before we put it out to bid.
Kevin, can I interject? I wanted to say that I know you've been working with representatives from the Dark Sky, including Vicki and Ted, I think. And I know that has been, obviously we wanted to make sure that this park functioned the way we envisioned it, and having their help and their partnership has been a big part of that. So thank you for taking that time to do that and work through that with them.
Yeah, we started out early with it. I have not had a chance to go over this final set with them, but they've been actively involved along the way of the design of the park. Here's our community center fans and lighting that we did this year. This was part of a bigger project that started last year. Off to the left there, you can see the old lights. They weren't in the greatest of shape, to say the least. They definitely needed to be updated, and the new lights and the fans and the blinds and the dividers have made a huge difference in the functionality of the community center over the summer. I got 0 complaints about a hot lobby. That's the first time that's happened. The motorized blinds did a great job in helping that out, and the fans just moving the air around in the room has made it so we have so much more control of that area. And so I know that all of our staff and our users are thankful for that, so thank you guys for being supportive of that project.
Kevin, I'm going to jump in there, and unless you saw the update that we just got a few minutes ago too, about that part of this project, one of the highlights, and this was not necessarily the intention, but it's been a great additional, is that by doing these upgrades, we were able to qualify for a rebate through SRP.
I didn't see it came in.
Yes, nope. It's
hot off the presses.
It is hot off the presses. It is an update, but it's just a bit over $100,000 that we'll be getting a rebate back for. So this is a smart investment on many levels. So
Yeah,
thanks to Paul and the finance team for helping get that done too.
Yes, Paul has been working on that for the last month and a half or so. We've been sharing information and trying to figure out where we can get rebates, and so this number now is going to be further under budget. So let's call that a win. We had to work really hard to keep this within budget, and we had some great support from our vendors and our electricians that did the installs for us, as well as we had a lot of help from our staff from the public works side that came over and helped us out with getting power where we needed it, and doing the things that we could in-house to help make this a project that was a win-win for everyone. So that's great news. Thanks, Rach, for sharing that. These are the projects that we're still working on. For the splash pad shade lighting, we met with vendors last week and started talking about best ways to light and our electricians. So we're working on best type of lighting to use over there. We did the same thing with the Centennial Pavilion shade lighting. We're pretty close to being ready to place the order for the lights over there. And again, it's one that we're extremely cautious of, the Discovery Center being right next door. I'm hoping that within this budget, I can expand it out to redo the shoebox lighting that are around the edges as well. I'm waiting on a quote to come back from that right now where they can just do a retrofit for the lights that are out there. We've been working with a company that does a lot of retrofitting, and I've been really impressed with the quality of lights and their willingness to come out and take a look at even our bollard lights around the fountain. We have one out there right now that we're testing, and so far it's working very well, and we think it's going to be a really good solution to moving forward to help make that more dark sky compliant than what it was when they were originally installed. And we have had our dark sky group went out and did some light testing on it, and the light test came back really positive. So they were very happy about it as well. So you'll hear more about that as we move through budget season. The Desert Vista Dog Park, we're still in process of getting things scheduled to come in and make some improvements in there. Same with our 2 pump houses. We haven't met with anyone. Yeah, go ahead.
Can I ask you a quick question on Desert Vista? 'Cause we've gotten some questions on the dog park. When do you expect that to start? Do you have any idea?
So we've been going through a lot of staffing issues here in the past, so it's certainly put us behind where we want to be at this time. But that's something that we'll be starting on in short order at the first of the year. And the final is the Fountain Park remodel replacements. We've been talking to some shade vendors and some demo vendors to where that we can work on getting 3 of these done this year. And that's something that will be coming down the pike as well. With that, I'll take any questions.
Councilwoman Earl?
Thank you, Jerry. Mayor. Sorry. You might not know the answer to this, but how many shade structures do we have now?
How
many
we have a
shades?
whole lot of different types.
Okay.
So I don't know exactly what you're,
Well,
as far
I
as
guess
ramadas or cloth type shade or metal or.
the canvas shade structures. Do we have a lot of those?
We have
Okay. So you don't know, I guess the number doesn't matter that much, but my question is, what is the life expectancy of them, and are we setting aside money for replacement? Because hopefully they don't all come due at the same time.
Yep. So it's certainly something that we were cautious of even when we were building it. There's a substantial cost in the structure itself and a very small amount that goes to the actual
Just the canvas.
They're warranted for 12 years. So we get a long life expectancy out of them when you figure that let's go the other way and go with the Ramada structures that were installed at Fountain Park in 2002 are completely rotted out, and we're replacing those, and those are probably 2 to 3 times more the cost. So, you know, the cost of the cover isn't nearly what the cost of the structure is. And so it's, and I did look at that early on. I can't remember off the top of my head, but okay. It's a few thousand versus 100,000.
Are those Ramadas that you're redoing, you're not going to do those into the canvas shade structures, are you?
No, they're still going to be
Still going to be that? And then congratulations on the SRP
Thanks.
rebate. And I also want to say the community center is so beautiful.
Thank you.
I like the changes and updates that you made to it, and it looks really festive right now, and it's really nice. Thank you.
Really appreciate it. We had a lot of staff involved in that one, including our community center staff and our building facilities guys, and making sure that both the maintenance and the look was right. And I think it came out really good. So thank you. I'm really glad that that's the case.
Councilman Watts?
A couple of easy ones, Kevin. They're always easy.
Right.
The Pleasantville, which I still think we ought to have kind of a naming contest for Pleasantville. It reminds me of Jim Carrey movies. Yeah.
We still can.
So just saying.
It's just what's on the docket.
I got it. So no wayfinding signs with that name on it yet.
Right.
That's good. Okay, so I noticed that roofing structure wasn't a canvas structure like some of the other ones in town. Did you intentionally match it to the Dark Sky Discovery Center so there would be some consistency? It sure looks like it was.
Yes, then absolutely. That's exactly what. No, we didn't.
Wow, how astute.
No, it was just part of the design as we started walking our way through it, and I wanted it to be rustic because that's kind of the theme that is in most of our parks, where like Fountain Park, it has a classier feel to it than your colorful, bright shade structures would. Whether that was metal or canvas, but that was the main reason why, was to just have it have the rustic look that we have a lot around town.
Coincidentally, it really looks nice, and it kind of directs you to the Dark Sky Discovery Center. The savings that we derived from the Salt River participation, are the movable walls retrofittable to mobilize them? I know we made them manual to begin with. Is there any logic to looking at the labor costs versus the amount of money that we got back? Not that I'm anxious to spend all of it, but if we gained our labor costs back in 2-3 years, it might be worth looking into.
Yeah, once we looked into the motorization factor, we were going to lose several feet into our hallway and several feet out onto the back patio, which would have been a huge cost of that. That wasn't recognized by the vendor when we first started looking into it. So doing it would not be nearly as cheap as what we were originally thinking, and even that was $100,000, I think, more or something like that.
Right.
So I don't think it would be practical for us to go that route.
Thanks.
Thank you. Good information.
Thank you.
Rachel, we have one more.
We have one more on the same topic, CIP updates. These are more related to our public works programs around town. Director Weldy is going to walk us through where we're at with this year's projects. Justin, you were my technical support. If you need help, I don't know.
Thank you for providing a brief distraction. Madam Mayor and Council, this is an update to several of the projects that you are well aware of. Going to be brief here because there's not much change since the last time we visited about these. The biggest change is going to be this first slide right here, the Shea Boulevard widening. This segment is eastbound between Palisades and Fountain Hills Boulevard. We did open the bids on that. They were substantially lower than the engineer's estimate. There's going to be some additional conversation about this tonight because it's an agenda item during the regular agenda. This is the Palomino Boulevard pavement reconstruction. There was also a substantial decrease in the anticipated funding for this. We had originally estimated that it would be close to $6 million, but as you can see, we're substantially below that at just over $3 million for the pavement. We will have additional information related to not only the Palomino project, but the Shea project and their schedules in early 2026. This is a multi-year project for those of you that motor around the town or move about the town regardless of your mode of transportation. You know that public safety, not only does the mayor and council take it seriously, but so does the town manager and staff. We have installed several marked crosswalks. We have also included the associated ramps and the safe havens in the middle of raised medians where appropriate and necessary. This is the one adjacent to the high school on Golden Eagle Boulevard that comes off of Brittlebush. These are some of the newer ones down on La Montana between Saguaro and Palisades. This is just an additional look at those from a different angle. This is the one closest to Saguaro, but this one also right here depicts some of our sidewalk gap elimination. This is on La Montana north side. This is a section that we did where we had a little gap down on Hamilton. There has been no substantial movement in this project outside of paying for some funding for some minor work that was done on some guardrail in the beginning of this fiscal year. We do anticipate, however, utilizing the balance of this funding to make the necessary improvements and repairs to a couple of sections on Palisades. Wayfinding, which is a multi-year, nearly a decade now. So we are in the final phase of this section, which is installing the signs. We have discovered some challenges along the way. In the coming council meetings, staff will be returning to this council to ask for some additional funding. The funding that we will be asking for is unspent funding from last fiscal year. While that doesn't make a difference because it wasn't budgeted in this year, it's a relatively small amount. We'll have more about that in our ask to the council later on. Possibly in December, most likely in January. This is phase 2 of the Golden Eagle impoundment. This phase primarily addresses the impoundment right in front of the face of the dam, and it also addresses the trash racks that prevent large debris from entering the dam and clogging it up and creating backflow onto the fields. This is still being reviewed by ADEQ and the Maricopa County Flood Control District. Their reviews oftentimes can take months. This is an update to a project that we shared with you earlier this fiscal year. This is an area down on Windover Court where we had a very narrow dirt channel that was overgrown with trees and shrubs, where we had water that overtopped the area and entered onto private property and into private homes. This is an in-house design that was completed and built this year. Fortunate for us, we were able to test some of these drainage structures recently, thanks to Mother Nature. I would like to note that this one here performed as designed, as did the Golden Eagle impoundment. On a side note for this one, when the flow is relatively heavy, it sounds like a musical instrument. Now that wasn't intended, but as I listened to it there and I watched the video again, I asked others, does it sound like there's a musical instrument playing? And they agreed. So this one is a benefit. We would like to thank you for this funding, not only for this project, but the other drainage projects. Oftentimes we have to wait a considerable amount of time to test them, and we've had that opportunity. This is the chiller replacement. We've had numerous discussions about this time, including an update reminding the council that the parts were stuck overseas and we were unable to complete it last year. The majority of the mechanical and or some of the smaller pieces have been completed, but it's currently scheduled for next week for the lion's share of it to be done. This is the downtown streetscape. This is concentrating on Verde River between Avenue of the Fountains and Palisades, and Parkview between Saguaro and La Montana. The There was a presentation to the council late last month for the 15% design concept. We have now moved on. We've spent the grant funding, and we are moving on to town funding. We are engaging Kimberly Horn and Associates to continue to design this project. Brief. Any questions related to any of those projects that I might be able to answer? Awfully quiet.
Thank you for the update. I just want to make a comment, though, about the chiller area. Boy, is that clean in there.
Thank you for the compliment, sir. I'll let the staff know.
We'll let them know. Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to our consent agenda.
Motion to approve consent agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Can I get a roll call, please?
Councilmember Earl,
Aye.
Councilmember Larrabee,
Aye.
Councilmember McMahon,
Aye.
Councilmember Calavianakis,
Aye.
Councilmember Watts,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Skilcorn,
Aye.
and Mayor Friedel.
Aye.
Mayor 7-0.
Thank you. We'll move on to our first regular agenda item, which is consideration for proceeding with the construction of Shea Boulevard Widening project. Rachel?
As Director Weldy just kind of gave you a preview, the Shea Boulevard project is moving forward slowly but surely. They just opened bids a couple weeks ago to our delight and our excitement, they came in below what we were expecting. And we had a number of more bidders than we traditionally do on a project like this, so that was great to see as well. But there are a couple of caveats that go along with this conversation. I believe Director Weldy and our street superintendent, Jeff Pierce, are here tonight to kind of walk through next steps and seek your direction. All right, this is our street superintendent, Jeff Pierce. Jeff has not joined us before in the meetings, but he's going to be helping with these projects. So he's going to give you a rundown of where we're at on Shea Boulevard.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jeff.
It's been quite some time. I think the last time or the only time was for the LED stop signs. Thank you. Thank you. Mayor, Vice Mayor, and council members, stand here before you tonight looking for approval for proceeding with the construction of Shea Boulevard widening and the necessary budget transfers to go along with it. The background on this looks like it's about $3 million is budgeted for the fiscal year 26 budget for this project. This project, as shown on the slide earlier, takes place between eastbound Shea, between Palisades Boulevard and Fountain Hills Boulevard. In a partnership with MAG, we went out for bids for this project. We had several back ranging from $3 million and change all the way up to $9 million. A bid was selected. A contractor was also selected as well. Preliminary meetings have been held with that contractor, basically talking about and discussing concerns involving traffic control. That's about as far as we've gone with them, bringing up issues and concerns with that. Both the Public Works Director and the Town Engineer were in that to discuss that. Moving forward with this project, we do have a shortfall of budget that we need to request to complete this Phase 1 project. It looks like in order to complete this with the bid that was submitted and some other constructional services, roughly around $525,000 will be needed to complete this first phase of the project. We are looking tonight for the budget authority and transfer for this and the approval for this budget to start. Once we start or get the approval for this, more meetings will be held with the selected contractor, further schedules, and timelines will also be discussed at that time and brought forth to you, as Public Works Director stated, in early 2026. Any questions?
Councilwoman Earl?
Thank you, Mayor. My understanding is that later down the road, we have in our packet here, the Proposition 479, we may be able to get reimbursement for the remainder of our expense on this. Is that correct?
Correct. There was a letter attached to this staff report that was sent to Town Manager Goodwin stating that MAG has reviewed that and there is a portion of that that will be able to be refunded. The only caveat to that is that we won't be able to see that until about 2030.
Not too far off. Thank you.
Welcome.
Councilman Watts?
Was the contractor that was awarded the successful bidder, is it a local contractor or in-state or out-of-state?
It's an in-state contractor.
In-state contractor?
Yes, sir.
And no ads or change orders anticipated at this point?
At this point, not to my knowledge, no.
Thanks.
Vice Mayor?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm going to be a broken record because I know Director Welby knows this. I complain about this particular project is that this really isn't for Fountain Hills residents. This is for people that live in the valley that, since it's eastbound, basically it's Friday mornings in the summertime when people are trying to get up north into cooler weather. And I've always thought it was not fair for Fountain Hills residents to have to pay for 30% of this. So that's going to be why I do not support it. And also concerns me about the $200,000 shortfall. Again, this is Valley residents that are really taking advantage of people at Fountain Hills. So that's something that I'll just renew that objection. And, again, it's also an opportunity, and I know Director Welly knows this, is that, there needs to be engineering solutions for the intersection of Shea Boulevard and Palisades. And we recently had a very serious accident there because of the engineering problems with that intersection. And I know that is also on the future roadmap that's going to happen. But personally, I think that those engineering solutions should take priority than making it easier for Valley residents to get the basin. Thanks.
Councilperson McMahon?
Thank you very much for your presentation. I appreciate it. If you don't mind, I'm going to ask for clarification.
Yes, ma'am.
It says down on page 2 that the shortfall is 197, 491.67. So right now, though, we're asking for 523, but MAG is going to be paying back within like the 197 amount?
Correct.
Okay, so we're not, so we're not spending, it's just because right now, we need the money to start and do the project, and due to the difference in the management of the new proposition and money, we have a shortfall. However, that money is going to come back to us all but $197,000.
Yeah, Mayor.
Yes, no, maybe so.
Kind of, Mayor and Council. Basically, MAG is going to cover 70% of it, but
right.
There's only a certain allocation available. It's in your agenda item at $2.26 million.
Mm-hmm.
So if there is a shortfall, there may be up to $200,000. We'd have to cover that up front, and they would reimburse us in 2030.
Okay, thank you very much. I just want a clarification.
And sorry, I do
That's
this a
okay.
lot. Our town share is mostly paid from impact fees. We have about $1 million saved up of streets impact fees, and most of the money that we're paying will be from impact fees at this
Right,
point.
thank you.
Councilwoman Earl?
I would like to move to approve.
Second?
Oh, sorry.
Can I check for comment
Yes.
cards first?
Sorry.
Do we have any comment cards on this one?
No, Mayor.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, I'll go again. I move to approve proceeding with construction of the current phase of the Shea Boulevard widening and necessary budget transfers.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Can we get a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Earl?
Aye.
Councilmember Larrabee?
Aye.
Councilmember Calvianakis?
Aye.
Councilmember McMahon?
Aye.
Councilmember Watts?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Skilcorn?
No.
And Mayor Friedel.
Aye.
Mayor 6-1.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jeff. Good job.
Thank you. Then we'll move on to regular agenda item B, possible discussion and possible action relating to selling town-owned parcels not related to washes.
Correct. I had a lot of calls about this one, a lot of questions, so I'd like to give a little bit of a background on this. This item is actually at the mayor's initiative. He has had some conversations with myself as well as staff about town-owned parcels specifically, and we've been going through. There are some that are connected to washes and have associated restrictions, and there are other parcels that do not. And the conversation was, are we able to sell them? How does that work? So this is coming before you for discussion only tonight. There has not been a lot of work done by staff at this point until we understand what the council's direction is. Director Wilde has prepared a couple of sample items. This is not representative of all of the whole town or all of the parcels, but we wanted to go ahead and at least give you some elements to begin the discussion. But with that, Mayor, would you like to take it from there?
Yes, so my thought process behind this was if we're sitting on vacant parcels that we're not using and we don't have a use for in the future, why not find a way to sell those parcels and help fund road repairs? We've got a lake liner that's got to be replaced at some point too. So if we've got several $1 million worth of property sitting there that we're not using and it's not productive for us, why not put that into our roads that we need, that we drive on every single day? And we've got a lake liner that's facing us with a big bill on that too. So my thought is to get some direction from this council to proceed with some of the bigger parcels that might have some value to them that we're not doing anything with, and see what we've got, and then have staff spend a little time on this to see where we are and what we've got in our inventory. Councilman Watts?
I think Councilperson McMahon was before me.
Councilwoman McMahon?
Thank you. Justin, the properties that we're talking about, are there any of them designated for parks or anything like that that will affect future build out of parks and community? And also another question, I don't know if you can answer this because this is just for discussion and it's probably going to be part of our discussion, is that if and when properties sell, I'd like council to consider that some of that money, if not half or whatever, goes to the lake liner, depending upon the value of what sells, et cetera, and the reality of being able to do that. So, because it would reduce the bond or whatever we're going to need to get. But anyway, could you please address my question about parks? Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, council member, so I'll be able to address the first part of that. Obviously, the second part is a decision by the elected body. In my staff report, I discovered an error late this afternoon while I was rereading it. I did note in there that none of the properties include the properties shown on the Parks and Recs master plan. I errored there. There is one piece of property that was designated to be a park where there is clearly not going to be one right now, on the corner of Sunridge Canyon and Desert Canyon there. So the balance of the properties that we will be describing and looking at tonight, and if so, the future, are not associated with any of those properties shown in the Parks and Rec master plan.
Okay, and then also, if and when any of these properties sell, you're going to have to look at the zoning, see what can be done with them, you know, like development-wise, traffic studies and all that kind of stuff, right? Depending upon the purchaser and what that entity or person wants to do with them, correct?
To some extent, council member. So prior to offering any piece of property up for sale, Public Works Department will work with Development Services to ensure that the appropriate zoning is applied prior to it being placed up for sale. If there's anything that requires a zoning change, that comes to this body to make that decision. In regards to traffic impact analysis related to some of them, it's not likely the majority will do that. The reason for that is we are primarily looking at a series of single-family home lots and or a lot big enough for townhomes. There are some much larger parcels out there, but we'll have to look at that and discuss access, floodplain, and several other issues. And again, just some examples is what we're discussing tonight.
Okay, and thank you. And this is a pretty long process. It's not just something that's going to be done in the next month, et cetera, and it will be brought back to council frequently, probably.
If
Yeah.
a decision is made tonight to move forward, we will bring it to the council in pieces
Okay,
and ask for permission to sell it. And then as part of that, we will also have a survey and an appraisal done on them.
okay, and also as part of the discussion, you know, I'd like to address each parcel where it is, so we have a clear understanding of what it is, what the town's giving up, and that, you know, that won't have an adverse effect on the town and its assets and things like that, too, okay? Thank you.
And to further your, and to actually answer your question, we're looking at 12 plus months. If it was the only thing that we had to do, it might take less time, but it's just one of several things that we will be working on during that time frame. You're welcome.
Vice Mayor?
I don't think I was next. Doesn't matter. Well, Mr. Mayor, and Director Wadley, I guess some of this is alluded to a little bit. The Ashbrook, the Ashbrook, that's what, 4 or 5 different plots there? Is it 4 different lots I see? And those would be zoned residential, correct?
Mr. Mayor, Vice Mayor, correct. They would be zoned appropriately for that location. So whatever the zoning is for the remainder of them, that's what it would be.
And Mr. Mayor, Director, is that currently what the zoning is? Or is they're not zoned?
It's zoned for, I think it's single family or condos. The designation I'm not certain of because I don't deal with that much zoning, but we can get clarification from Director Wesley.
Okay.
If necessary.
And then, Mr. Mayor, I don't know, Director, if you remember this, the Sunridge one. Is that the parcel that there was the parks had planned like a pathway there that the community did not want?
That is correct.
Okay, thank you for that answer. And then, you know, to these issues, I am going to really be on the side of more open space. I don't know if I really like the idea of selling these properties and developing them. I mean, for different scenarios for each one. I'd actually like to see, I can see a map here, but I'd like to go and like check out the Ashbrook site. I mean, I think open space probably is desirable. It almost seems like an extension of the wash there, even though technically it may not. So I'd like to see that myself, but I'm probably, again, going to lean towards open space. And really the same thing with the Sunridge. I mean, we had people that didn't want extra traffic there. They didn't want people parking their cars and going for hikes there. I don't think the same people that were opposed to that, and a couple of them are here, would like the idea of condos or something beyond that property. So, I mean, I'm leaning against that, against selling these properties. I would really gonna side to open space here and maintaining as much open space as we can. But also, I think that, Mr. Mayor, I think Director mentioned asking for permission to sell those. Is that permission from the council or is that permission from the voters? Would that go to go on the ballot for people to vote on?
My understanding, and Jen, feel free to jump in, is that any parcel, if it's owned by the town, the council would need to give that direction and approval for sale. The most recent one that I can think of is probably the old fire station.
Well, yes, the abandoned fire station is how I refer to it. It was one that we sold, and we currently have one on the market on Genoa that this body approved.
Yes.
If I may, for some clarification, in regards to the piece of property on Sunridge and Desert Canyon, that is zoned for single-family homes, and it would be identical to those across the street, which the topography and the mountain range was very, very similar there, and there's a preserve behind them with some open space.
Thank you, thank you. Well, and then, Mr. Mayor, I think this should go to the people to vote on. I mean, if the council wants to sell these, I would urge the council to let it go to a vote, to the people.
Councilman Watts?
Thank you. Justin, when we considered the impact fees and we were doing that schedule of costs, we projected how many parks we would need at some point in the future, that 5 or 10 years, and Paul can probably answer that. But I would ask you to make sure we consider that by selling off this land, we retain whatever that projected number was. That's kind of a statement. Second one is I'd like to know Even though they are zoned, when I'm looking at the Ashbrook one, there's 2 dwelling units on one. The other ones look like single-family lots. For some reason, they're zoned a little bit differently, but they're still subject to variances and having something go on. My concern there is that the adjoining lots, and this is for the residents more than anything else. If I bought a lot and built a house, and I was told that that was preserved land, and I would never have anything there, I'd be real concerned about somebody all of a sudden selling that off and putting a 2-story house up. So I would ask you to consider that as well. I'm also not a supporter of selling off land until we get questions like that, and like Councilmember Skillicorn asked, to make sure that we're doing everything we can to protect what the interests are of the homeowners. And more, I'm leaning on the homeowner side as opposed to the town side. I know it's a labor burden to keep washes and right-of-ways all clean, but I wouldn't want to be the homeowner that had a lot and you sold my lot or sold an adjoining lot off and build a 2-story house. I'd be concerned.
I understand that, Mr. Mayor, council member, if I may. So on average in Public Works, we probably get 50 calls a year demanding that construction stop on a home. And the primary reason for that is my realtor said nothing would ever be built across the canyon. So I understand that concern. In regards to whether or not someone has or has not been told that, I don't think that in Public Works that we have any control over that. Regarding each individual piece of land, there shall be no favoritism from anybody on the staff related to that piece of land. All the same conditions that would apply to any other undeveloped piece of property, whether it's a single family or a duplex, would apply. All of them would have to go through the same process as a landowner and a future home builder and or resident.
I understand, but my point is just making sure that we do everything we can to protect those that we're told that nothing would ever be built there to obstruct their views or whatever happens to be built there. And there's always that potential for having somebody rezone it for something other than what is stipulated at this point or anticipated at this point. So just, we're not voting on it tonight. Just want to make sure we're considering all of these things as best we can before we get to that point.
Understood.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Earl?
Thank you, Mayor. I'm glad this is just a suggestion tonight or for discussion. I do not support this. I think the town should hang on to its land because I disagree with you, I'm sorry. But I don't think we know what needs there will be in the future. We can't tell the future, maybe don't need it now. But we're not in dire straits financially, so I don't see the need of selling these off, and I like having a little more open land. And if we did need something in the future and we sold off our land, we'd have to purchase that land at the going rate at that time, which may cost us more money. So, and also the time that we will be asking the staff to put into this. So I would not be a supporter of it. Thank you.
Councilwoman Larrabee?
Thank you, Mayor. I guess I take a little bit more of a middle ground approach, but I also do lean toward open space. I love the idea of getting some money put away for the lake liner. However, I do think, and you explained that this is a long process, so this is our first discussion about it. I'm going to have an open mind, and I personally will be considering each individual plot separately and whether it's wise to sell that or to hold on to it for, yes, the community interest, but then also financially speaking, that's an appreciating asset in the long term, right? Say for huge emergencies and then economy heals itself. Point being, land is an appreciating asset. And God forbid, if we were to be in dire straits as a town, it would be helpful to have some of that land in case we are in a position where we really need to sell it. I guess what I'm trying to communicate is I'm not necessarily opposed to selling any, but I will lean toward probably selling fewer.
All Are there any speaker cards on this?
Yes, Mayor, we have 5 cards. First card is Larry Myers, followed by Crystal Kavanaugh.
Larry Myers, resident, 44 years, mayor, council, staff. So I'm going to take a perspective of looking at the individual inventory of what's out there and lean more heavily towards advocating that these parcels are assets and looking at it from a business perspective. What's the return on investment right now? Open space. I like it. I like open space. But I sit on an economic development committee with an economic development director, and all we talk about is how things would change here if we had an anchor corporate headquarters. So there is land that we don't have to grab from somebody else that the town owns. And I don't look at it as an asset for selling, because then you have to worry about selling it to whom and what will they do with it. As one of the council persons mentioned, or Justin mentioned, you don't know what the next person's gonna wanna do with it. So I look at it as an asset that the town owns that might be a carrot to bring someone here, to be an anchor employer, to create jobs, to put kids in schools, all the things that we talk about every month in this Economic Development Committee meeting. And I know there's one. I don't know if there's more than one, but I think you ought to consider it from a business perspective, not necessarily a revenue producer to cover expenses that I know we're going to have, but if you look at it from a business perspective, you might get more out of it and end up with the revenue to pay for the lake liner as well, and all the other associated benefits that would bring. So I would advocate for that, and especially for our economic development director, who's got a tough job and just trying to do it. Thanks.
Crystal Kavanaugh, Fountain Hills resident. I'm going to speak specifically to the Sunridge Canyon one. This is the one that I think it was a couple years ago, and I do think it was zoned open space recreation. And it's at the corner of Sunridge and Desert Canyon. And at the time, it started out to just be a natural hiking trail that they were going to just put through there. But then suddenly the plan was to build a parking lot first. So then we didn't know what was going on. And then suddenly it wasn't just natural, then they were gonna add ramadas, and then they were gonna add electricity. And luckily the council listened to the residents who said, we don't want this. And I am a Sunridge Canyon resident. So now that this is coming up again, my only concern is, obviously my first choice is to leave it natural. It's not that big. And I don't know how much maintenance the town actually has to spend on it. It's natural. And my other thought is definitely to emphasize, if ever it got sold, it would have to be single-family homes. There are no condos right around that area. There are no townhomes right around that area. The only thing is the golf course maintenance shed is there, but then there's homes off of Desert Canyon, there's Solitude homes, and then there's homes across the street from that. So I urge you to just leave it as open space, but if it does get rezoned, it absolutely has to be single family. Thank you.
Shelby Blecker, followed by Linda Kavanaugh.
Mr. Mayor, council members, Shelby Blecker, one day shy of a 2-year resident in Fountain Hills. I also live in Sunridge, and I go by the property at Sunridge and Desert Canyon quite often. It's a very small parcel, and I appreciate all the comments that you made about open space and the need for hiking trails and whatnot. There is plenty in Sunridge Canyon. Our homes are not sitting on top of one another. They're very well placed out. I'm in favor of selling off that one property as long as I know that the homeowners associations around there will build in a fashion that is similar to what's already there. Single-family homes across the street, single-family homes to the north of it, to the south of it, and a hole of golf below it. You can't really see it from the streets. As long as the setbacks are reasonable for public safety, for people to cross the street, because there are a lot of pedestrians that walk their dogs around there, there's a lot of bike riders around there. I don't see why that small property needs to be in the town's inventory. The rest of the properties I can't speak with, but like I said, this is my neighborhood, so thank you.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council, Linda Kavanaugh, Fountain Hills resident. I'm glad I listened to the presentation first because I'm saying something a little bit differently right now. I'm going to agree with Councilwoman Larrabee. I think you need to look at each of the parcels. And some might be in an area where you really do need to sell it and it would fit right into the neighborhood as residential. And others maybe not, maybe might be conducive to a little pocket park or something like that. So you look at each one individually and then you decide, keeping in mind that people built their home there knowing that it was zoned residential, single family, and that's what they would want to see if you decide to sell that piece of property. The way I see it is that, you know, when people buy their homes, the zoning is actually a promise to those people that this is what's going to be here. Whatever happens, you can be guaranteed that it's going to be that zoning, and I think that's only fair. The other question I have, which I didn't hear anybody touch on, was how are you going to go about selling these? What's the process? Is it going to be you put out for bid? Is it going to be real estate? I mean, I'd just like to know that, and that's basically all I have for comment. Hi, Rachel.
Hi. I don't know if I'm allowed to answer, but I'm going to.
Okay.
Just because it is a common question, and Justin, I think you can chime in too. But municipally, we are bound to do it in one of two ways, which I think is we have to do a bid process for it. Okay. For fair market value, or we can do an auction. So those are the two ways, again, because of limits by the state that we have to do it that way.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Thank you.
Mayor, the last speaker is Kim Wolborski.
Mayor and Council, I'm Kim Wolborski, a 6-year resident of Fountain Hills. I think I got up here a couple months ago and said it was going to be 5, but my tax accountant pointed out to me that my math is bad. But I think my logic is still working. So I hate to disagree with the mayor because I think the mayor is a star, and I'm very grateful that he is our mayor. But I also feel that this land should be kept as open space. Open space is habitat. I may not look like it, but I'm a greenie, and I love all the little animals that live in our neighborhood, and I know a lot of them are living up there. And I think it's important. I think it adds to the beauty and the character of the town to have as much open space as we had. That being said, if it does have to be developed, I agree it needs to be not only single-family homes, but single-family homes, as Justin said, that are in the same character and size lots and as the rest of the neighborhood. It's also, it's surrounded by Sunridge Canyon HOA, and I am a resident of Sunridge Canyon HOA. So I believe that ideally, it would be a part of our HOA. That would be part of our community if that happened. But again, I'd rather have, you know, little pack rats and javelinas living up there than those guys. So, thank you.
That was the last speaker.
Thank you. I think I need to be clear. I don't think we're looking to have any zoning changes done on this, and we should look at each parcel individually. And maybe the Sunridge HOA would be interested in buying that corner parcel. Again, my thought was just to look at what we have, see if it makes sense, and develop a plan. Like Justin said, it's going to take a year anyway to do this. So that's my thought on it anyway. And we're not looking to put apartments or condos where there's single-family residents. That's not what the intent of this is.
Mr. Mayor and council members, if I may, based on some of the speakers, the town currently does not have any commercial property that would be included in this. This is primarily all single-family home and or a duplex or a townhome. And each one of those designations would depend on the existing zoning around it. There would be no changes to that. The exception would be Sunridge, Desert Canyon, changing that to the appropriate zoning, which I think the density there would generate about 10 lots. Be identical to everything else that was developed in there.
Councilperson?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First off, I just want to appreciate the conversation we're having. When I first saw it on the agenda, I said this is outside the box thinking. It makes good sense. Let's talk about this conversation. Initially, I was kind of for it, and then I'm not now, and I do agree with many of the council members that spoke. It seems like, you know, land is an appreciating asset, and it makes us look a little desperate that we need money selling an appreciating asset. It's kind of like cashing in a life insurance policy for a new sports car. You know, in 5 years, you're not going to have a life insurance policy or the sports car. So you've just sold your future, and I'd like to avoid that. I also do, when I look at the Sunridge Canyon and the Ashbrook, you know, there's going to be some rezoning, and they're going to be building houses where residents didn't expect there to be houses. And I do want to respect that the zoning is a sacred bond between the town and its citizens. And if we decide to change zoning, not because a realtor said, oh, don't worry about it, but we really changed the zoning and they said, now the town did it, the people aren't going to appreciate that. So I'm glad we're having the discussion, but I don't think we should go here, and I do think we should keep the open spaces.
So Mayor, I've heard a wide range of things tonight. What I really need to know and what our staff needs to know is what, if any, steps does the majority want to take for this process, if any?
Councilwoman Earl?
No steps.
Is that clear?
Councilman Watts?
I think we need more information before we move forward. And I think collecting that information.
That's what I'm saying. That is staff time and resources.
Right.
If we're going to do that, that's a step forward.
I don't think you can make a decision whether to sell or not sell, do something with it, whatever, without knowing more about what we've got today. I don't think we've got good, clear answers on where we're at today or the why.
I just need to know if you want the time and effort put towards putting that together. It sounds like that's a yes from you.
For me, it's a yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Councilwoman?
I'm sorry, Mayor, I'm still recovering from, I think, whiplash. The previous conversation, I think, was really valuable. I would like to see some, I would like to see this return to an agenda with plots identified for us to consider. I want to stress, I do want to consider these individually and consider the surrounding community or surrounding land for those areas. Yeah, the neighbors. Again, I'm just going to be very frank. I lean toward open space. I think I'll lean toward selling less of these. However, I do want to identify the ones that are worth selling. And I believe that some of that money going toward the lake liner is not a hot rod. The lake liner is something we all know we're going to need and soon. And I want to do everything in my power to avoid a bond, to avoid asking the taxpayers to carry a burden for something that we know that we can save for. So I want to consider that balance. So please understand and be patient with me, because I might be someone who lengthens this process, but I want to balance that open space with preparing for the future.
Vice Mayor?
Mr. Mayor, a lot of times in the budget process, we ask for a green light, yellow light, or red light. Red light.
Thank you. Councilwoman McMahon?
Thank you very much. I'm not going to put staff, I don't intend to put staff on, having to say yay or nay right now, and or Paul for the budget, but I think what I would like is more information from your vantage point as managers of the properties, managers of the budget, et cetera. And is there a need to sell the properties? Is it something that, the timing on, you think that it's in the best interest of the town to get rid of one or two of them? Or are you guys fine with leaving it as the status quo? And also, given, some of the community input, not just tonight, but before, about the area on the ridge up there, will there be any community impact, hearings on this or anything like that? That's really going way above, I think, what we're talking about tonight. But I think for me, I'm leaning towards moving forward because I want more information so that a more educated decision can be made about it with staff input. Because I kind of feel like I'm going at it blind here a little bit. Justin looks at me like, huh? Do you understand what I'm asking?
I do. I think,
Thank you.
I think there's a balance to be struck, because depending on the level of information that's requested or expected,
right,
it's a significant ask on staff to pull the
I know.
GIS, to do all of the different measurements. And I know the next question is going to be, well, how much do you think they're worth? That's
Well,
a
you
whole
don't
other
know.
process.
I know, but I guess what I'm saying is, look, you guys know our investment portfolio, okay? Good investors and stuff take a look at that. They balance what we have. They balance, if we're making money or our assets are increasing in value, et cetera. I guess that's what I'm asking, is to take a look at our portfolio and see, is it in our best interest to possibly sell one or two or whatever lots? That's, I guess, what I'm asking, the bottom line.
Are you looking for that assessment now, or to come back with another item? Okay.
No, not right
Okay.
now. No, I don't want to put you on the spot like that. I guess I'm asking, I'm not saying you haven't considered that already, but I'm asking if you have, and just to come back and have a conversation, period. Okay?
Councilperson Kalivianakis?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just to clarify, is with you, town manager, is this something that you can spend a little time on, or is this going to be a major time sink? I ask that because in a report, this is authorization to give you the go-ahead, is to proceed with appraisals of all the properties, valuations, identify surplus parcels, prepare for zoning adjustments, public notifications, public input. It seems like this is going to be over a year-long project to a staff that I think's already been overworked. Do you see that as, is this something that's just, we could just look into it a little? Or is this a head first in the pool?
I think to that point, yes, we can have further conversation. There's nothing wrong with that. What I'm concerned with is that we won't be able to answer all of the questions that have come up tonight, because those are all contingent on what you just said. I can't give you a valuation. We would need to go get it valued. We would need to go get it surveyed. A lot of those go hand in hand with a lot of the logistic and logical questions that have come up tonight. It makes complete sense where the questions come from. And Justin can kind of speak to this, is he and I kind of had a meeting of the minds to say, where is it that we put the brakes on and say, we're going to save our time and energy until we know what you guys would like from us. Again, I've kind of thrown out, we have a new GIS staff person who's been here 3 weeks, 4 weeks maybe. So this would be their first major project. So there is conversation that we can have and come back with a little more detail, but I am very cautious about using staff time for something that may not be where we want to go with this. To your point, I absolutely agree. Each parcel has its own identity and its own characteristics and its own impact to the community. The Sunridge parcel has been a topic of conversation for a lot of different things, and I really value what that means to that community. Justin mentioned earlier, we have a parcel on Genoa that is out for, is it up right now?
It is out for bid.
It is out for bid right now, which is a parcel that we talked about with this body and staff supported. Yeah, this seems like a reasonable thing. And we have taken them one by one as interest came from a private person. But we have not initiated any of this as a staff-driven project. And I think that may go back to what you were saying, Councilmember McMahon. This isn't something the staff has come forward and said, hey, we really got to look at this.
Mr. Mayor and council members, if I may, and Rachel, I would suggest to streamline this and get back to the council with some definitive answers, that we just focus on the building lots. These are single-family lots that don't require any rezoning on Ashbrook Drive. They are attached to tonight's agenda. That is relatively uncomplicated. We've already done a little bit of work there in regards to lot size, setbacks, zoning. So that's just a small piece. We could certainly dig deeper into that if that's a consensus and come back to you in the spring sometime, February, March, with additional information just about those.
I think that's a good suggestion. Councilwoman Larrabee?
Yes, I was mostly just going to echo that. I think that's a good suggestion to just start small. Let's get those on the agenda. We'll consider those. And then maybe in the future we can consider other plots. I think that this is a worthwhile initiative, but I also recognize the amount of time and work that gets put into it. And as someone who has worked in GIS, please give our employee my condolences. It's a very difficult program. I love it, but very difficult. Anyway, I understand the amount of work it takes and the amount of time each individual shape you're adding to the map takes. So I want to say I'm grateful for that person, and to limit their work, let's start on Ashbrook.
I think, Justin, you said it pretty succinctly. You don't need to get into the weeds on this. You've got some information. Whether it's something like looking at value of lots on Zillow or talking to a realtor, bringing it up a level, and then I want to make sure that we balance the needs of the town and the beliefs of the residents in the area and those types of impacts. So I don't think that there's a deep dive necessarily, but coming back with some general guidelines as here's what we can anticipate. Is it worthwhile? And frankly, we haven't agreed on what is on the table for next year. Not at this point anyway, so you may not have anything to do, and this may just be filling up your plate.
And if I may, Mayor and Council, in regards to the Ashbrook location, that was actually intended to be a road that went from Ashbrook to Hamilton across Ashbrook Wash, but the topography and the elevation change is about 30 or 40 feet. So MCO elected, and there are several of them along Ashbrook Wash where they were originally supposed to be crossover roads. They simply decided not to build. And the example that we're sharing with you tonight is one of those locations. It was intended to be a crossover road over Ashbrook Wash.
And just so I'm clear on it, this is the first time we've looked at this opportunity, is that correct?
For this location, yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
I'd also like to remind this council that we're sitting on $40 or $50 million worth of backlogged road work and a $15 million lake liner replacement. So I'm not saying we need to sell every single parcel in this town, but you don't want to bond for either of those projects. We have to look at some alternatives. So I think this is a good way to start. Let's see what we've got, and then we move from there.
Thank you for the discussion. It sounds like we'll be bringing back the Ashbrook parcel, as you mentioned, Justin, and we'll take it from there.
Yep, thank you for the
Great.
opportunity.
Okay, we'll move on now to council direction to the town manager. Is there anything for the town manager? Councilman Watts?
I'd like, the Palisades and Shea has been intermittently problematic. Accidents, people, every day I see people just simply roll through the sign. Is there any way that we can look at the cost of warning sign that midway up the hill that says crossing traffic, much like a crossing truck sign or something to that effect? We've got these flashing stoplights. We may as well add to the excitement by putting another flashing sign if there was a sensor there that said there is crossing traffic or something like that.
Sure, let me get with staff and we can take a look at
It
what
may
that
be
could
kind of a way to mitigate it. In lieu of doing something like that, if we own the road, and Councilman Skillicorn brought up an interesting point, do we own the road? Does Maricopa County own it? If we own it, maybe there's other things we can do with it to generate some revenue. Toll bridges come to mind.
You said Palisades and Shea, or did I mishear you?
Yes, Palisades and Shea.
That's a stoplight.
It's a no turn on red that people ignore.
Got it, the no turn.
That's been a constant problem. It's been repeated time and time again on how to fix that, and it just hasn't been a doable job because of the expense, et cetera. So.
Okay, do we have any future agenda items? Can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
We have a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.